Did you watch Didn't Die?
No.
Okay, you did not watch that one.
No,
Did you
no.
watch?
We did The Stringer.
Right. Did you watch? Actually, it's not on your list. So I don't know if you did that. Hold on. You watched OPEX. I watched
Yeah.
The Midnight Shorts, and yeah. So
Mm.
we have The Stringer, which is another documentary.
Yeah. Which I had the strangest Sundance experience ever.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. So
maybe not. Maybe not.
I'm going to give that to you in a second because I want to hear
All
it.
right.
The Stringer is a documentary. There's a shocker. However, it is more. Most documentaries are about something that happened. The Stringer is more a documentary about what didn't happen.
Mm. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
No, that's absolutely true. Actually, yeah, that's absolutely true.
So now, before we get into it, what is your strange Sundance story for The Stringer?
Well, I think we almost have to get into it. So the film is essentially about who should have credit for the famous napalm girl photo
From Vietnam. Yep.
Yeah, from the Vietnam, which historically one of the most celebrated photos taken, and the film puts forth the assertion that the individual who was credited for it was not the individual who actually took the picture. And part of the film is about presenting evidence on why that supports the idea that who was credited could not have taken this picture.
Right.
But I think the other part of the film, and this is the part that I think you were referring to more so, was examining the life of the individual who should have gotten credit, who didn't get credit, or as the movie suggests, should have gotten credit, and how that impacted his life, and his family's life, and the people around him. And I think that's an interesting film. But my experience was the cast or the filmmakers were there for the Q&A, and these, as they were coming down, there were two I'll refer to them as gentlemen, even though that was further from the case. They weren't, who came down and sat next to me. I was in the second row, and we're just talking to each other as they were doing the intros and everything. And it was just like, what are you guys, could you at least, if you're here,
pay
have pay attention, have a little respect, and make it so not everyone's being disrupted by you.
Right.
But then, of course, they go to the questions, and one of the men stands up immediately and says, I don't have a dog in this race, but I can tell you my buddy here, who is, I don't remember who it was there, and he has issues with this. And that guy stands up and starts basically railing on the filmmakers about, you interviewed me, but didn't use my sound because you didn't like it, and you should have talked to my photographer, and all these sort of things. And he essentially was attacking them for their film. And I think that they had been forewarned, because they were able to basically say, no, here's directly what you told us. And you said that, you didn't know who took the picture because you were essentially just doing your job, and you were, off getting interviewed or whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
You weren't paying attention to that. And your photographer has said this, and this, and they pretty much dismiss him, his claims. But of course he doesn't shut up, and he keeps going. And he gets louder and louder. And
please tell me security comes.
No, no, this is better than that, actually.
Oh.
So one of the themes in the movie is about how a white man made a decision that impacted and essentially muted a Vietnamese person, because that individual did not have a voice that they could use.
Right.
And so what this turned into, and I don't know that this guy in his head is smart enough to actually figure that out, this turned into white guy yelling at Asian filmmaker about his film. And it really hit that point. And then someone got the microphone and basically told him to sit down, and that he had clearly not learned anything from the movie. But he kept going, and the next person told him to shut up and sit down. And finally he did. And of course, he was fuming because I think he expected the whole room to be on his side for some reason.
Why?
I don't know. I think it was like the most bad gotcha journalism that I've ever seen, because it essentially boils down to this man was upset that they didn't use the
The sound.
sound, or he's upset because I don't know. It's hard to, well, and it's funny because at one point he says that one of the characters, the photo editor, one of the guys who has been haunted by this event, he said, well, this guy's got a problem with the AP, and I don't know what it could possibly be. Well, the answer is he has a problem with the AP because his whole life he's been burdened by this fact that he was told to give credit to the wrong person, and that might, leave you disgruntled. But of course,
Right.
this man was so blinded by whatever that he pretty much had missed everything that the film had to say. In fact, I don't even know if the guy saw the film, based on what he
Wow.
said. Just the way that he reacted, and I was there, and you people are idiots, and but yeah, they had direct quotes where it was like, sorry, you said you didn't know, and your photographer has said, these things, and and so it was just this really uncomfortable thing. But the audience essentially shut him up and sat him down, um, and weren't going to have it.
That
And
is hilarious.
and it's just interesting because I don't think. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking, and I don't know what his friend was thinking. If
Yeah.
he has, it was almost worse that he had his friend stand up and start
Right.
asking the question, and then says, "Oh, and here's my buddy, by the way." It
Yeah.
was, it was this whole, "We're going to shock you,
Well,
and we're going to
what's
throw out
funny
things."
is if you watch this film, there are when they boil down to, we've talked to everyone, we've looked at all these pictures, we know what we think, and then they take all of this photo and video evidence to this other company,
Yeah.
and they say, here's the timeline and here's the footage. Determine, it's like, it's the old joke, find X. Where was this picture taken from? And who
Yes.
was standing there?
What are the forensics behind it?
Right? That is a beautiful sequence.
And
It just is. You
yeah.
watch it, you're just like, they don't just run you to the end. They go, here's this, and here's this in the background, and this and that, and then here's this, and here's this in the background, and here's this person in the back of this photo, and you can see they're wearing this or carrying the other thing. And then in this other photo, they're over here with the other thing. And it completely breaks it down, and they give you this CSI, 3D virtual breakdown. And you watch it and
Yes.
you go, yep.
Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say is that I would like to see a rebuttal, just to give them, because this film is very much the opening argument,
Well,
and maybe even the closing argument.
well, what's always telling, of course, is that at the end, the AP did not want to discuss this.
Yeah.
When we sent it to them, and they did not want to talk about it. It's like, you don't want to talk about it because you don't have a rebuttal. But here's the thing. Here's the big thing. And they kind of, in a way, it makes me sad because they do kind of gloss over this point. The person credited, okay, let's take it as read, that a Vietnamese stringer photographer who's just a freelancer, that's all a stringer is.
Yeah.
He's Vietnamese. He takes the photo. The person that is credited with the photo is a Vietnamese AP photographer, one of the in-house stringers for
Yes.
AP, but he is Vietnamese. So
and I think they do kind of touch that in a
they
point.
do, but they don't really, in the end, remind everyone that no matter who took the picture,
Yeah.
it had such a cultural impact on the war, on Vietnam, on photojournalism. It's just doesn't matter at this point who took the photo, and why not just say, yeah, at the time, this is how we handled things. And it was, it turns out this guy actually took the photo. It doesn't change any of that impact.
I think, well, like say it changed that the person who took the photos live, their lives went in different directions.
But to be fair, the guy wasn't hunted down and killed. He had a family. He came to America. He had a good life. It's not like he suffered per se.
No, but
he didn't win a Pulitzer. He didn't go on speaking tours.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the bad stuff. But in terms of the impact of the photo, on a writ large,
sure.
But they kind of forget to remind you how important the photo was.
Yeah, but I also think they did soft gloves a little bit because the photographer Nick Ut, who was credited, they have a bunch of interviews with him over time where he tells stories that don't really seem to line up.
No.
And I think if they wanted to really go after him as an individual, there was plenty of this story doesn't align with this or this or this, and they don't really go heavy into that. I think if this was a film that was just about finding out who took the picture, and was about disproving Nick Ut's story, that would have been more. But because the film was also about the man who probably should have gotten credit, it kind of goes in a different direction. I don't know. It was. I thought it was an interesting film, and I think you're right. I think there's that moment in it where you go, okay, well, I really can't argue too much with this. And again, and if there is no rebuttal, there's no rebuttal. But I would like somebody to give some sort of, but maybe there isn't. And then the question becomes, if you're Nick Ut, what do you do?
Yeah.
And does Nick think he took the photo, or does
at this point?
Does he know that he did or didn't, or does he? You know what I mean? It becomes a question of,
fog of war.
Yes, exactly.
So I could get it if he believes that he somehow got it,
Yeah.
But when you watch it, it's so clear.
Yeah.
It's just there's no way he couldn't even have accidentally gotten that shot.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
It is. It is. So that was one of the, I hate to say fun documentaries, but it was very engaging. All of this forensic-y type stuff going on. So and at every step, the guy investigating this, because he got a tip.
Yes.
He's going, and then I just wanted to find the thing that said, nope, everything is as it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he just never could. So it's, he wanted to just be able to stop. And he couldn't, which I thought was great. So yeah, that's The Stringer. That was another great documentary. What else we got? Zodiac, Perfect Neighbor. I did watch Atropia and Opex, which was on the rest of your list, along with the midnight section shorts. Those are tough to talk about, though.
I was really disappointed by the midnight shorts. I only liked the.
Generally speaking, I was too.
The Millie Shapiro one with the hunting.
Em and Selma go griffin hunting. What else? Yeah. Polly McIntosh from Walking Dead. She's great. Bunny Hood was weird. The Things We Keep. I want a long form of that.
I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Or a longer form.
Or something that makes sense out of it.
Yeah. There's just not enough there.
I just was like, it's well made, but it's not well told.
Yeah. So yeah, the midnight shorts kind of let me down this time. I did watch a short. I don't even remember what it was. It's an animated short called Inquo, for When the Starving Return.
Mm-hmm.
I got a screener of that separate because I was in line with the lady that was repping it, actually, as it turns out. So she sent me the link. It's a stop motion, which we both love.
Yes, we do.
And it's like 25 minutes long. So that was pretty cool. And there's a couple issues that I didn't feel like needed to be in it, but the general tone was really interesting. Atropia is a comedy for a lie. It's all it can be.
Yeah, I guess.
In 2006, it's a city that the government runs to train soldiers for upcoming deployments, and they can dress it up however they want. And in this case, it's set in 2006, so it's set up as a Middle Eastern village with terrorists and locals and whatnot. And they go in for like 3 or 4 weeks, and they run these different scenarios. So the troops have to react to all these. Well, it's populated by a bunch of role players. People, Iraqis, Iranians, people from the Middle East, actors, actual people that were there during certain things, and they play all these different roles in different scenarios. And it's about one woman who is an actor and who desperately wants to be an actor. And her relationship with a soldier that comes through, but he's a soldier playing a terrorist before he redeploys to Middle East. So it's their relationship. This is not as good as it should have been. It's way too uneven. I don't think it was either too silly or not silly enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't. I agree. I don't know. Yeah, I just didn't. It just. Yeah, I didn't really like it that much.
Well, and then Channing Tatum comes through on this weird 5-minute cameo at one point. It's just nuts. And it's got Chloe East is a reporter. She was in Heretic not long ago. Callum Turner is the soldier. Chloe Sevigny is in basically a glorified cameo. Again, it's a very strange film, and like I said, it just had trouble deciding what it was. And then at the end, there's like, oh, the Department of Defense has 300 of these or whatever, however many of them across the United States where they train. It's like, and what's your point?
Yeah.
It's like, are you saying that's bad? Are you saying that's good? I mean, what was it? A couple years ago, there was a documentary called Riot Town or Riotville, USA, where it was about the military training to suppress domestic riots. It's like, sure, but it was a documentary built around actual footage. So that seemed to have more of a point than this did. This one didn't. I don't know if it was trying to say anything at all.
Well, I think, someone might have had the premise of these things exist. There's this one that's outside of LA. There's a lot of probably struggling actors who sign up to do these things. And what would that be like? And it certainly wasn't a particularly political film. I don't think that was in it at all. It wasn't. I don't know what it was about, really, or what it was saying.
Yeah, I don't think it was. That's the really weird part of it all. And again, there's some cool names in here, like I said, Channing Tatum, Chloe East, Callum Turner, Chloe Sevigny, Jane Levy, if you're a horror fan, Tim Heidecker. So there's people involved that are neat, but
didn't care.
it just didn't work. The other weird film from Sundance that we both saw was Obex.
Yeah.
Obex. Okay, let me preface this real quick, and I want to make sure I get the guy's name right. Okay, Obex it might have been in the next category. I'm not even sure. I'm going to tell you what it was in because that's important. Because I have the list right here. Yeah, it was in the next category, which is basically weird and experimental stuff.
Yeah.
But it's from the same writer-director who did a couple years back a film called Strawberry Mansion.
Yeah.
which I enjoyed. I thought that was crazy and over the top and surreal, yet oddly touching. And in Obex, I I don't know about this film. It's about a guy who lives his apartment. Apparently, doesn't like to go outside. Has a neighbor bring him groceries once a week.
Yeah.
Has a pet dog that just happened to wander into his yard, and he makes a living. And this is back in God. This got to be back in the 80s.
Yeah, it's got to be
Right?
mid 80s probably.
So he has an ad in these computer magazines. Look, Google it.
Yeah.
And he, for $5, if you send him a photo of yourself, he will render an ASCII printout of your photo. So he will type your picture on the keyboard, print it to you, and send it back for $5. So you watch him sit there striking away on his keyboard frantically to do old ASCII art.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious if you've ever done it or seen it, if you remember it from the olden days.
I never did because I don't have the patience.
Well, I don't have the patience, but I saw it. I saw a lot of it. But it was a thing from a very specific period of time. But he sees an ad for a game that says if you send a brief video of yourself introducing yourself, take a couple photos of yourself from different angles, they'll put you in this video game, Obex.
And it's the most realistic or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's the 80s, people. So it comes on a floppy disk.
Yes.
And he starts to play it. He thinks it's dumb.
Pretty quick.
But then real weird things start to happen, and he finds himself in the video game. And he has to rescue his dog. So
who has run away, yes.
Who has run away or been taken.
Or yes, something.
So it is him going through this 80s video game environment that is, it's not shot like a video game. It's not animated.
No.
But it's surreal. It's kind of accurate if you played any of those old games. There's parts of it that you recognize.
Oh, yes.
But it's not very coherent overall. So, like I said, I like Strawberry Mansion better. I think it's a better put together film than Obex is. I kind of liked the concept, but I don't think it was executed very well. But again, he's probably doing this on $12. So, Albert Birney wrote, directed, and stars.
Yeah.
It's one of those films.
And he's the character's interesting. I mean, I do love how he has 3 TVs stacked on top of each other, and he's watching 3 different things at any given moment. Watches and records horror movies off of TV.
Yes.
Has a massive collection of things that he's recorded off of TV. That he flips through. I mean, there were parts of it that I thought were interesting. But generally speaking, and I guess to sum this up, I forgot that I had watched it.
Until you looked at your list.
Well, I sat down and I was like, "What do I still need to watch?" And I'm like, "Oh, I still need to watch this, Obex." And then I was like, "No, I don't. I did watch that." Oh, okay. That's not a good sign. So I feel kind of bad about it, but it had no impact on me whatsoever. So it is what it. Yeah. So I don't know what to say about it other than it's fine. But
Okay. So on that note, that's what we've watched together. So let's give me a movie that you watched that I didn't, that you really liked.
I think, well, there were 2 specifically in the premiere category. One, and they're radically different. One being All That's Left of You, which is a film about a Palestinian teen. Well, essentially you have a Palestinian teen, and this takes place Actually, when does the it's comes in different time periods.
Right.
So it's anyway, it's more contemporary, where Palestinian teen goes and protests and gets shot and killed, and then the mother basically says, let me tell you the story of him,
Right.
and why that moment happened or
How we
whatnot.
got here.
Yes, how we got there, and it goes through. It's a multi-generational sort of story, and I just thought it was really a really well-made and interesting film, and it has the final act is actually starts with the first scene in the movie and then plays out from there. But I just thought it was a compelling film. We don't see, and again, I don't want this to sound political. We don't see a lot of Palestinian, from the Palestinian point of view sort of films, and just watching it as, these are human beings, going through things. It was a really compelling watch. Um, Brought up some interesting things as well. But it was really, really well acted. The woman who directed it also starred in it and wrote it. Had a hell of a time getting it made. Um, uh, and last, well, as of the screening, they didn't have distribution yet, but it was just a really great film that reminds you that humans are humans, sort of
Right.
thing. And particularly the last act, I think, was incredibly important, um, and kind of, yeah, made it more of a universal message, I
Right.
think. But it was a really tremendous film. But again, that's a foreign film. The film that I saw that I think is going to be the crowd pleaser if we can get people to see it, is The Ballad of Wallace Island, which is a Scottish film,
Mhm.
essentially about a very rich guy who wants to get his favorite band back together, which
Oh
was a
God.
duo. He wants to get them back together, so he pays the lead singer a massive amount of money to come play a concert on this island,
Right.
without explaining any of the details, or why he's doing it, other than, well, it's going to be a really intimate gig, and so just bring your acoustic guitar and whatnot, and it was just from start to finish, it's hilarious.
Right.
It's smart. It's the main character is incredibly awkward. But you go, I mean, he just like he anything that you can do to make a situation more awkward, he's doing it, but not in a way that doesn't seem unrealistic. It was just it was a lot of fun. There are great character arcs in it. Um, and I think it comes out in March. It was a focus feature, but I just loved it, start to finish. There wasn't, it plays with your emotions. It gets you to want things that you probably shouldn't want, because it would, do something to the anyway. It's a really, really good movie.
All right. So the Ballad of Wallace Island. Yes, March
Yes,
28th, according to IMDb.
there you
Um,
go.
one of the movies that I loved that you didn't get to watch was The Ugly Stepsister.
Yeah, I need to sometime.
Oh man, if you like, it's in the horror category. It's a midnight movie. Um, it's Cinderella on acid, basically, but it's told from the stepsister's point of view, and it's not the Disney version. It is fantastic. It's foreign film, so it's subtitled. Um, it is just remarkable. I said it's this year's uh, In a Violent Nature. You're either really gonna like it or you're really not gonna like it
Yeah.
as a horror movie. I just thought that one was great. And one of the other ones that I really no, that's the one that really I liked 2,000 meters to Andreevka. It's a nice counterpoint to 20 Days in Mariupol, same
Okay.
filmmaker, but it's put together differently because his source material is different, but so that makes everything's really it's a really jagged film. But I think it's just as important as 20 Days of Mariupol. Mm-hmm. Now, give me a film that disappointed you.
What? I mean, Zodiac, I actually was kind of disappointed with. What else? I try not to think of the things that disappoint.
I know.
Oh, well, Obex did, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Trying to look here what I
mean, even aside from that, Midnight Shorts being generally not.
Well, yeah, the Midnight Shorts weren't that great. One film that I wasn't disappointed in content or conventional ways. It was a film that was in the festival, then out of the festival, and then back in the festival. And it's called Black News: Terms and Conditions, and I'm still trying to figure out why it was removed.
Apparently, there were copyright or something.
I guess there was like 1 minute or something that wasn't approved. I don't know, but I found it to be. It wasn't as edgy, I guess, as I thought it was going to be. It was good, but
right.
I guess I was expecting some, and I guess if you add a minute to it somewhere in there, that maybe that does make it edgier. But I guess I was disappointed in that I couldn't tell exactly what the issue might have been with. I don't know what else. I don't even know what else I saw at this point.
Well,
but
there was another film that caused some controversy, but in terms of a movie that disappointed me, Rabbit Trap.
Yeah, she did not like that at all.
Dev Patel. That was so disappointing. The movie was about sound. Well, the movie wasn't about sound, but it was really leaning in. So it's set like 1976 in Ireland. Dev Patel's married to this woman who is like an experimental musician, and he records like ambient noise. He like goes out and he records the sounds of nature, right? So the sound of a foot in mud, or the wind through the trees, or just all of this really weird stuff, right? But then this child shows up, and it becomes this weird Irish folklore movie, and I love that garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down for that because Ireland, Scotland have great mythologies.
Sure.
Right? They do. But the film just never manages to put itself together in a way to justify what they're showing you. It's like there's more there. Why are we not getting it? To link point A to point B to point C to point D. Why is that just not happening? And so you get to the end and all of these things happen and you don't care by that point. The sound is great. The sounds that this film puts out there are incredible. But narratively, it's a mess. It's a hot mess. So that's disappointing. Let's wrap it up with this one. Did you hear about the controversy around Twinless?
No. What did I miss?
So Twinless showed in theaters, and then it wound up on the online portion. Then it was off the online portion. Then it was on the online portion. Apparently, what had happened was that while it was on the online portion, somebody created a couple of GIFs, and I haven't seen them. This is what I've gathered, concerning two of the male gay sex scenes, and put them out. They made quick GIFs of these two little scenes. The scenes are really not that important to the film. However, copyright infringement. Yeah. So the filmmakers justifiably were really pissed. And everyone's big concern now is that Sundance moving forward may not have an online component to prevent such jackassery. I wouldn't blame them. I would be upset.
Yeah.
But I absolutely would be like, I get it. Again, I'm generally a rules and a process guy. So you broke the rules, the process is going to react to that. And so while I may be disappointed that I may not have access to online screeners at next year's festival, if I am graced with a press pass, I get it, because it only takes one retard, and yes, I said it, to ruin it for everybody else. The same idiots that were filming Wicked and putting out 2-minute videos of Defying Gravity from the theaters. It's like, what is wrong with you people? So Sundance might not only move, but it may change a chunk of what it does. And now, to be fair, in doing so, if the online component goes away, that's going to make the in-person screenings more important and maybe make the festival more intimate again. And more important, because you're going to have to be there to see the films.
Yeah.
So there's good and there's bad, but it's like, what kind of idiot, just for clicks? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's just so dumb. But yeah, so everyone was really upset because they're like, oh God, I don't know if I'm going to get to watch it. And it's like, I had already watched it by the time I heard about it. So luckily I either caught it before it came down or after it went back up.
Gotcha.
But I was like, oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
The movie's not bad. It's interesting. It's fun in a really weird way. But yeah, it's like, I just don't understand people. I don't. I mean, I understand people, and so I understand there's always going to be some idiot.
Yeah.
But it's like, people, come on, don't be dumb. So yeah. So overall, for our possible second to last Sundance,
Yeah.
on its home turf, you didn't get to see as many as you wanted.
No, I think I ended up like 13 or 14. Yeah, the problem was you may have heard about this airplane that went down in DC.
Yes.
So I got wrapped up in having to a lot of stuff with that. It made for a quite interesting final week.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't see nearly as much of it, but I was genuinely happy with what I saw. I do wish I could have seen more. I wish I could have, done at least another 7 or 8 films, but I did what I could, and we go from there.
I wound up with 19 plus the 6 midnight shorts.
Yeah.
And the the animated short. So, but I had to cut my in-person viewing short, because
was the animated one the where it starts off in the snow or whatever with
the Inuit girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, equal.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that one was good. The style was great. The animation was incredible. Again, there were a couple parts I'm like, why is this here? But whatever. Message. But yeah, I had to cut my weekend short up there. I came back. I was supposed to stay through Monday before I came home. I came home Sunday halfway through the day because after I had made all of my Sundance plans, my wife got a short notice trip to work. So she had to go out of town, and she left Monday.
Yeah.
So I figured I should probably come home and see her off rather than sit up there and watch movies in Sundance. So thankfully the online stuff helped me fill in some holes.
Yeah.
So about half my films came online. So
yeah, the majority of mine were online this year.
Yeah, so hopefully we still get that option next year, or I get to go back up again and spend a few days and do what I need to do.
I would say, good. Yeah, I hope if they, this year I think there were only 2 theaters in Salt Lake.
I heard.
And so that limited access, for those of us down here as well. So read into that what you will, but
yeah, they were downsizing. Well, if it stays here, it's going to be based in Salt Lake with stuff in Park City.
yeah, which
I don't know how that works.
well, I know how it works. It was just odd that if that's how they want to, if that's Salt Lake's pitch, this was the complete opposite of Salt Lake's pitch,
Right.
or the pitch to stay here. So I don't know. That read into that what you will.
Yeah, it's it. So Boulder or Cincinnati. We shall see in a year when the festival closes and we find out when they announce the dates, because they've announced the dates for next year.
Yes.
So they'll announce the dates for 27 and its location would be my guess. So there you go. So that's it. That was our fun time at Sundance with Sundance, I should say.
Yes.
The films. We've got a couple movies coming out in the next couple weeks.
Yes.
One is what is tomorrow's?
It's what?
Love Hurts.
Yeah, Love Hurts. Yeah.
Kiwi Kwan. And then next week, of course, Captain America, New World Order.
Yes.
Brave New World. Sorry, not New World Order. Brave New World.
There we go.
No baggage on that title either. Again, I don't understand why they changed it from one loaded title to another, but it's like, come on. But yeah, so we'll be covering those. That's a lot of movies. And I know, of course, there'll be more. And then, unfortunately, for all of March, basically, I will not be here. I will be traveling abroad. Details of which will be shared when I get back. So that
I don't think that's
an
I don't think that's an unfortunate thing. I think he's just go and enjoy it.
That's my plan. That is my plan. So
yeah.
So until next time, don't forget to like us, follow us on social media, all of that stuff. You know how it works. Share us with your friends. Leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Reach out. Touch us on those various social media outlets. Until we talk again, I am Mark. That is Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
And we will talk to you all later.